So recently I sat down with one of my friends, let's call him Daniel. He's the beginning of his 30s and he was mentioning that he was struggling a lot with losing weight. He was not having the motivation and the scale was just increasing. He was seeing a lot more belly fat on top of his frame, and that made me realize that damn, that sounds really awful. And after the conversation I was reflecting a lot about that because it reminded me a lot about when I was like 60 pounds overweight and I felt horrible that I've been trying to intermittent fasting, low carb diet, working my face off in the gym and we're not seeing the results that I wanted. But one of the friends of Daniel was mentioning that me have been working with helping people with losing weight for like 13 years now, and that definitely saw a lot of sparks. But I was struggling a lot before that, but eventually I just figured out a way and I managed to lose the 60 pounds in 8 months and kept it off for 12 years. So I was just telling Daniel that, man, I've been trying this, so why not just following what I've been doing. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also turn on the bell to get notified whenever I'm making a new video about weight loss advice every single week. But I also have managed to help a lot of ambitious professionals losing weight, especially men and women, and achieve their lean, tall, muscular body and have a lot more confidence being at work, talking with clients and doing presentations. So the method not only working for me, but also several of other clients. So just grab something to drink and just watch the whole video through because I'm going to share a lot of great tips for you who are struggling. So the first thing that you should be aware of is that you're not struggling with motivation, it's just you have no clarity in regards to what to do when it comes to losing weight. So clarity means that you are not having a plan. For example, if you're someone who's going to the gym and you're just winging it, you are just going on treadmill for 1 hour because you feel like that is something that you have seen a lot of influencers do, and then you go to the weights and you're just lifting weights but you have no idea of the right order of how to target the muscle groups. Let's imagine that you really want to get like a big chest and broad shoulders, but the problem is that you're not sure how to target it. What kind of exercise is, you're probably just taking some of the smaller dumbbells, like 2 kilo dumbbells, to target the shoulders, but you're not even sure how many muscle groups the shoulder is divided into. So that's why you are not seeing the results that you want. And if you are just going on a treadmill and you think that the treadmill is going to help you with losing weight, it's also going to be very difficult because you're not sure how much intensity you should put in when you're trying to lose weight. If you're someone who's just going on a treadmill, talking with a friend, you're not burning as many calories as possible. So in order to build a lot of muscle and lose the weight fast, you need to definitely just having your weight loss plan diet in check. So you start out with figuring out what your macro calculator is. You figured out the maintenance calories, you drop that down to 500 calories. You're dividing your macros into 45% of your daily calories come from protein. So you are making sure you are keeping all the muscles but also building more muscle, because the more protein you're eating, the faster you're going to lose a lot more fat and keeping the muscle. And that is going to help you in the long run. That if you are eating way more protein, like 45% of your daily calories come from protein, you are burning 100 or 200 calories more every single day, and that's just going to be a big change in the long run. And you're also making sure that you're getting a lot of your daily calories coming from carbs, like 40% of your daily calories come from carbs, and also dividing into fast and slow digestible. Because if you're someone who is going to the boardroom and you really need to perform, you need fast digestible carbs to make sure that you have enough energy to not only being highly focused when you're doing presentations, and you also need to have slow digestible carbs to sustain your energy level throughout the day, where you are getting a lot of energy and also keeping your blood sugar stable so you have energy to work out after your main work. And when it comes to, for example, working out, you also need to be aware of there's two types of exercise that you need to focusing on. The first one is compound movement. Basically, these are some of the most heaviest and most demanding exercises where you are targeting several muscle groups at once. Let's imagine that you want to target the upper part of your chest. So you're using incline barbell press, where you are targeting the upper part of your chest, you are targeting the front part of the shoulders, and then you are targeting the triceps. So these are some of the muscle groups that you are targeting. And you also want to make sure that you are using like a notebook where you are typing in, like the first set you are saying that you are performing 10 kilos, you put in 10 kilos on both sides of the barbell, and then you perform like 10 to 12 reps where you are making sure you have you're getting a lot of blood flow out into the muscle group. And when you are pushing the weight out, you're pushing it 1 second out, and then you are taking a breath, and then you're pushing out the air like this, and then you are lowering the bar like 2 seconds, because this is where you are experiencing the most muscle trauma, where there's also a point where you are having a lot of more possibility to building a lot more muscle. And then you keep that for like 10 to 12 reps, just getting some blood flow out, and then you rest like 60 seconds, and then you increase the weight even further with like 2.5 kilos on every side. And by doing that, you are utilizing something that is called progressive overload. That is a principle that basically just helps you getting stronger, but also the more strong you're getting, there's also a correlation that you are building a lot of more muscle. So if you're always pushing yourself, trying to add more weights, and you're also noting down on your notebook, you're going to see a lot of changes. And then you rest 60 seconds again, and then you try to perform like 15 kilos, and you're doing 10 to 12 reps, and you want to perform like 1 to 2 reps before failure, because you want to have a lot of intensity when you're working out, so you're feeling that you are actually getting a lot of outputs, and you're seeing a lot of success when you are actually going to push yourself. So that's just the first exercise with, for example, hitting the chest, and then you can go over to dumbbell chest press. That's also like a compound movement. And after you've been doing the compound movement, you eventually just want to go over to something that's called isolation movements, where you are specifically targeting one muscle group. So you don't have a lot of energy as you had in the beginning of your workout. So you just want to go over to the small exercise that is just targeting the specific area of the body that you want to work out. For example, you're already targeting your triceps, so you can target the triceps with like tricep push downs, where you're having it in a cable. You have a bar here, and then you just push it down, and then you do that for 3 sets. And you also want to utilize the progressive overload and tracking it, and then you're targeting a different head of the triceps. That could be rope push downs, so you are making sure that you are targeting all 3 heads of the, for example, the triceps, because tri is just a Latin word of just saying that there are 3 heads of the triceps. So you want to have a fully developed tricep head. And the last one is just, you can do like dips. You're also targeting the triceps where it's like in the mid part here. So you have targeting the whole through. And yeah, I would love to know, what is your biggest takeaway so far? Just comment below and let me know. So this is basically just the workout. So in the second part of the tips that I want to share with you, as just some honest tips, is you also want to be aware of, for example, cardio. The type of cardio you want to do is very different from what other people are saying. But if you are doing cardio, you want to track your cardio, and you also want to have resistance. Reason that you want to have resistance is that you want to burn as many calories as possible through your diet and also through your cardio. So by having, for example, 20 minutes on a stationary bike, like after you're working out, like the heart rate 120, 150, you're going to feel a lot of intensity, and you're burning a lot more calories. And you're also focusing on daily steps, that is like 6,000 steps, where you are burning additional calories. So you're burning a lot of calories through your diet and also your cardio and steps. And by doing that, in total, you're going to lose a lot more weight every single week. And if you are also making sure you are tracking your weight every single week, like Monday you're going to the bathroom, you have taken a dump, and you are weighing yourself without drinking anything or eating anything. You're weighing yourself without clothes. You track that number down, and then you following your diet plan and also your workout plan for a week. Then you see if there are any changes, and you also want to take body measurement pictures. And yeah, and by doing this, you're taking new pictures and body measuring pictures after 4 weeks, because that's enough time to see there's a change. Because some weeks you are losing what you want to consider 700 grams every single week. That's like optimal for losing a lot of muscle, losing a lot of fat, but keeping as much muscle mass. And then eventually there are some weeks where you're not seeing as much fat loss, because you are either just building a lot of muscle, and that's just, let's imagine that you are building like 300 grams of muscles and you are losing 200-300 grams of fat. So it's more like, it's a balance. You want to not always focusing on the weight, but also how you feel, how close it's feeling, and how strong you are getting. And then after 4 weeks, you can just be surprised that by tracking thoroughly, you are going to see a lot of changes with the diet. And if you are hitting plateaus, you want to change things up, I'll share that in another video. But I hope that was helpful. So if you are an ambitious professional working a full-time job and you really want to lose the weight for good and get to your healthiest version without giving up the foods that you love, just like the people in the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can book a call with me and apply for my coaching, and we'll see if you're fit to work with me, and we'll just build a game plan together. Bye.